Before Disney had Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach, there was River Country. River Country was the first water park at Walt Disney World. It opened up on June 20th, 1976, on the shore of Bay Lake near Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, and around the now abandoned Discovery Island. The park had featured a rustic wilderness theme, complete with rocks and man-made boulders. It was described as an old-fashioned swimming hole. The park was featured in a musical number from the 1977 Wonderful World of Disney episode, The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World, which included a song titled River Country, and featured the then-current Mouseketeer lineup from the late 70s incarnation of the Mickey Mouse Club, enjoying its attractions. The park featured a sandy bottom and unique water filtering systems using confluent water from adjacent Bay Lake, which was dammed off, creating a natural-looking artificial lagoon. And see, I actually used to go to the park back in the 1980s and 90s. Me and my parents would enjoy going to River Country. My dad, uncle, and aunt especially enjoyed the Whitewater Rapids. And my personal favorite was the Slippery Slide Falls. I remember being little and riding down the slide multiple times. I would imagine myself as a mountain climber and then slipping and falling into the water below. Suffice to say, I had an active imagination. And I still remember the days that we went there, almost to a T. Mom packing a small lunch of sandwiches, fruit, salad, and cheese, getting chips and ice cream from the food stands, walking on the Cypress Point Nature Trail, riding on the Whoop and Holler Hollow, going down the Slippery Slide Falls, traveling the Whitewater Rapids, and, of course, swimming in the upstream plunge. And out of all the parks at Disney, River Country, along with Hollywood Studios, had to be one of my favorite parks. So, suffice to say, it was no surprise that I went to apply for a job when I was 17 there. And they accepted my application, so I started working there. It was difficult trying to prevent drowning at a crowded water park, and some of the people there were rather rude. But, you know, the pay was good, and I got a discount for Disney park tickets. I worked there for about a month and a half, until it happened. This happened back in the year 2000. My girlfriend, now wife, had just gotten a job at Fort Wilderness. We enjoyed hanging out with each other on our breaks. We were talking about how our day was going, and how our jobs were treating us. As we were talking, a small kid approached me and tugged at my shirt sleeve. I asked him what was wrong, and they said that there was this awful smell coming from around Whoop and Holler Hollow and Bay Bridge. I didn't think much of it at the time, though, but thanked him anyway. I didn't really see much of a reason to check it out, but my girlfriend said that we should still inspect that area, just to be on the safe side. The two of us made our way over to Bay Bridge, and walked over to Whoop and Holler Hollow. And as we did this strong, rotten smell passed us. I mean, that kid wasn't lying or exaggerating when he said that this smell was awful. It smelled as though it was coming from the forest area of the park in front of us. And curiosity got both of us, so we entered that area. We walked for a bit, and what we came across was certainly disturbing, to say the least. We saw a hut of some sort, made out of wood, leaves, trash, and plastic. The hut was right under one of the sides of Whoopinholler Hollow. But none of that was what actually disturbed us. Several animal corpses laid in and around the hut. All were twisted and half-eaten. One was a half-eaten alligator. The front half of its jaw and snout were missing. One of its eyes was missing. Several things were missing, in fact. The tail, 3 of its feet, and a large portion of its body. There with it was several headless fish, half-eaten birds, and squirrels with their top halves missing. My girlfriend and I were speechless. I turned to her and told her to inform the manager and park security, while I explored the area to try to find anything else. She nodded and left. My girlfriend soon returned with my boss, along with security. Upon seeing the dead animals, they were horrified. My boss told us to clean up the area while he closed off the area. He said he wanted the area searched for whoever or whatever did this. We took down the hut and removed the dead animals. During this, I kept thinking about what might have caused these brutal attacks. My first thought was naturally a wolf, something predatory. But I haven't heard about any wolves in the area. But, after that, things returned to normal. For only a few days, that is. I was on lifeguard duty, and was watching over the lake area. As I was doing this, I heard a scream and looked out to the water. A woman looked like she was in pain while swimming. I blew my whistle and dashed towards the water. I jumped in and pulled her out. "Are you all right, ma'am?" I asked her, and looked down at her foot. Right at the very end of her foot, a gash was bleeding profusely. It looked as though she had been hit by something sharp. "Don't worry, I'm fine. Thanks, though. I just hit a sharp rock or a tree branch at the bottom. Just caught me by surprise, that's all," she explained. But this raised a red flag for me. Because, we didn't have any rocks at the bottom of the lake. I told my boss this, and the two of us investigated after closing. Sure enough, no rocks. Just sand. If there were no rocks, then what had that lady hit that was so sharp exactly? I got my answer 3 days later. It was night, and River Country was closed. Me and my girlfriend had just finished dinner at Trail's End Restaurant before making our way to the car. And as we did this, I noticed 2 teens sneaking into River Country. I cussed under my breath. I told my girlfriend about it, and she said she'd get security while I go get them. I liked the idea and went after the 2. River Country looked and felt very different at night, however. During the day, the place was packed and bright. But at night, it felt like something out of a horror movie. It was dark, quiet. I felt alone. I examined my surroundings and saw nothing but forest, a few dim lights, and the water. And at night, it looked inky black, as though it had something to hide. I heard splashing in the distance, along with guitar music. I reached the Indian Springs by the time I saw the 2 by the lake area. A teenage boy. He was sitting in one of the chairs and playing music on his guitar. The other was a girl. She was swimming around in the water and trying to convince her boyfriend, I assumed that they were dating, to get into the water with her. The boy either didn't notice or didn't care. Excuse me. Do you two realize that you're trespassing? I'm afraid you two are gonna have to come with me. I called out to them. The boy stopped playing his music and looked at me in shock. Oh, God, sir, I'm so sorry. I promise that we'll get out of here soon. It's just that we tried getting in earlier today. The boy tried explaining to me, but was cut off by the girl screaming. I looked at the water and watched her get dragged down suddenly into this inky blackness. The boy scoffed. Nice try. I'm not getting in, he said. He thought she was joking, but I thought otherwise. I ran to get my lifeguard gear when I heard her scream again and splash up. This time, her calm-looking face was now one of terror. She had a large claw mark on her face and a bloody bite mark on her shoulder. "Lori!" The boy called out and started running to the water. The girl tried to swim out, but was quickly dragged back down. I knew there wasn't going to be time to get my gear. Instead, I started running to the water. The boy was already in there, trying to find the girl. And as I ran over, something large and black leapt out of the water. It crashed right down on top of the boy, dragging him down under. I stopped in place, inches away from the water. What the hell was that? Then the boy emerged to the surface. One of his eyes was missing, along with his nose. He screamed and begged me for help before a scaly hand grabbed his face and dragged him back under. I stood there in shock. My heart was pounding like a drum. I wanted to get out of there, but I was afraid to turn my back on whatever the fuck was in that water. Suddenly, something lunged out of the water as though it were shot from a cannon. The thing landed right in front of me. It had purple and black scale skin. Skinny and thin. Its eyes were green and as big as a fist. Its teeth were long and crooked. It had an alligator-like tail. It also had 3 spikes on its back. It looked like it stood over 7 feet tall and had these razor-sharp claws. Its eyes were also fixed right at me. I screamed and ran, but I did something stupid and ran to the left instead of running out of the park to the right. I ran on Barrel Bridge as the creature chased me. It made this hissing sound as it did. I could hear its claws scraping against the wooden bridge as it chased me down. I ran as fast as possible. I made a quick glance back and saw it running on all 4s. Then it jumped at me and tackled me. I felt its needle-like claws digging into my back. I screamed in pain as it sunk its teeth right into my shoulder and began eating. I started kicking and hit its knees, and it let go. I ran until I found myself on top of the slippery slide falls ride. I looked in the distance and saw my girlfriend along with security arrive. I began calling out my girlfriend's name. She looked in my direction and screamed at something. She then pointed in my direction. It took me a moment to realize she was pointing behind me. I looked behind me and saw the creature jumping right at me and tackling me. The 2 of us fell down the slide and landed in the water. I could feel the creature clawing at me. I opened my eyes and felt the creature claw at my face. I raised my arms in self-defense before the creature bit into one of them and ripped it off. I don't know what happened next. All I remember is everything fading to black before waking up in a hospital. My girlfriend was asleep in a chair next to me. Once she woke up, she hugged me and kissed me as though she hadn't seen me in years. I had apparently passed out from blood loss. The boy and girl who snuck in were dead and ripped to shreds. As for the creature, nobody knows. All I was told was that security shot at it, and it fled into the lake. I resigned from River Country that day. I was afraid to go back. My girlfriend also resigned from Fort Wilderness. She didn't want to take any chances in coming across that creature. We both got a job at Hollywood Studios. We got married a year later. I still have nightmares from that night. I still remember the creature. I don't know what it is. And frankly, I don't want to know. My former boss promised to keep an eye out for this creature. But I don't think that he believes anything about it. Only the people who saw it were me, my girlfriend, and those 2 security guards. River Country closed about a year later. I don't know if there have been any more attacks or not. I do think that that creature is still in Bay Lake. I'm afraid that it's still out there, and still hungry. I hear Disney's planning on building a hotel at River Country. And that's just going to be ringing the dinner bell for that creature.